Hi, my name's Chi Wu. I'm the chair of the steering committee of the Brookline Asian American Family Network.
Hi, I'm Ellie Hyde, and I guess I just graduated, so I'm going into freshman year of college.
My name is Jean Hur. I'm a recent graduate of BHS. I'm off to college this year.
So our mission is to support the needs of Asian American students and their families in the Brookline schools. Back in 2009, one of our former steering committee members, Ira Chan, he had been on the school committee. He was the only Asian American elected to school committee, or select board, or any of those types of offices. And he lost his seat because there was a heated election between two other candidates. And when he lost his seat, we kind of felt like we were losing sort of all representation on the school committee. And there was this general sense, there's a lot of Asian Americans in Brookline, but we really aren't seen or felt in terms of policymakers. And so we decided, well, if we didn't have someone on school committee, we should at least try to have an organization. And that's when we formed BAAFN. We had a few meetings, things got quiet for a while. Then in 2011, we kind of started back up again. BAAFN engages in some activity that's more public facing. So we have events, we have the annual essay contest for high school students in Brookline. We have a May Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month celebration, which includes both the award ceremony for the essay contest as well as sort of just a celebration that May is AAPI Heritage Month. We used to have a Lunar New Year celebration that we organized. The library has been doing a Lunar New Year celebration, so we've been working with them to support them. We also do behind the scenes advocacy, so a lot of discussions and conversations with both decision makers within the schools, so that's the superintendent and folks within the central administration of the schools, as well as the high school. We've talked to various folks within the high school, the head of school, and the deans, and we do all sorts of things from providing support or having conversations about ways to support Asian American students. We also do advocacy, so we've long advocated for more Asian American teachers and staff in the Brookline Public Schools, so that the students can feel like they have someone to relate to, they feel seen, there's someone with cultural competence in terms of maybe guidance and support. All of that is really important.
I think since BHS is such a big school, it's really hard to find staff that I can relate to. Luckily, I was very lucky to be put into classes where I did have a couple of Asian American teachers, and they were the teachers that I went to if I had trouble, if I had some emotions that I need to talk out with. They were really the teachers that I bonded with. And I think for a lot of Asian American students, that might not have been the case, so I'm one of the lucky few who did have that resource, yeah. I think if there weren't any, Asian American teachers I could connect to, if there weren't any of these more institutional resources I could reach out to, I would say the only way I would connect with my Asian American identity or have that kind of support is through friends.
In 2020, as you know, there was a spike in anti-Asian hate incidents and racism out of the pandemic. And BAAFN engaged in a lot of activities to try to do some advocacy and education around that. We had a town hall forum on that topic. We supported students after the Atlanta shooting when they put on a vigil for the victims of that shooting. We also have been working on the town side of things. We're working within town government, town politics to support the Asian American community. So, for example, last year we introduced a warrant article, which is basically, it's like a bill at the town level to require the town to have a language access plan and hire a language access coordinator. about 10% of town residents are limited English proficient, and a good portion of those are folks from AAPI backgrounds, Asian immigrants. So the town has never had a language access plan, which it really should, to figure out how it's going to serve the needs of limited English proficient residents. We work a lot with the Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Relations. We've been trying to get more Asian American history and studies into the school because really addressing anti-Asian racism, the most important thing to do is educate folks about our community, our history, the history of racism against us, the barriers we face.
I'd say in my senior year of BHS, I definitely felt a lot more representation than I ever have in like my, 8-9 years in the Brookline public school system, especially through the Asian American Studies curriculum. Yeah, that was really helpful to me. Like not having that kind of visibility, I couldn't really understand what it meant to be Asian American, especially the history behind it. To me, it was always like, oh, you're an Asian that lives in the U.S. and nothing past that. But then since I've like learned about Asian American history, how immigrants immigrated here, and just all the struggles and like all the circumstances they had to overcome, it really made me more connected to my own identity as an Asian American. I immigrated here when I was 7 years old, so I came as an outsider. I didn't know English. I didn't have any friends, and a lot of people didn't speak Chinese. So it was really a struggle for me to assimilate with American society and the American school system. And it really took me a long, long time to like fully recognize my identity as an Asian American, because I think from age 7 all the way to probably 14, 15, I never really saw myself as American because I wasn't born here, I wasn't raised here. In my, living in a fully Asian household, it's always been a completely different lifestyle. And I really didn't identify as Asian American because I didn't really know what it meant. I thought it was, if you were born here, you're Asian American. If you weren't, you're not. But I think through probably like sophomore, junior, and senior year, I really got so much more into what it means to be Asian American, what it means to like be proud of that kind of identity, and I finally like had so many different resources that I could reach out to, and that really helped me a lot. And it was like a really big epiphany for me actually, to one, realize that I'm Asian American, two, kind of like realize all like the microaggressions, racisms that Asians do face in America, because again, Brookline's such a bubble in itself, and we look at ourselves as like a really progressive kind of town, but there's so many little things that happen that we don't pick up on, and especially as kids we don't pick up on. So I like had a big realization that we had a lot of those kinds of like racism in our town. So that really affected me, but in a way it also enlightened me a lot with our situation now. Yeah.
So the essay contest was the brainchild of Teresa Cheng, who was on our steering committee, along with Ira Chan, who I mentioned earlier was on the school committee. And she and Ira moved to San Francisco a few years ago, so that was kind of sad. But she started the essay contest, and Shulan Chan took it over.
Okay, so to be completely honest, it wasn't my idea. My mom was like, you should enter this, so I was just like, sure, why not? It was actually my college essay, and then since the word count was similar, I was like, why don't I like reuse this and add a paragraph? But the process for the college essay, so I don't actually have a writing process. It just like came to me at 3 a.m. when I just like woke up and I was like, I know what I'm gonna write. So I just like jumped awake and wrote it and went back to bed.
And the reason she started it, I mean, there were several reasons. One was to promote AAPI voices, the voices of AAPI high school students. Another was, she said, look, all these communities have these awards, contests, and other events so that the students can have something on their resumes for college and, helps promote them. And our community doesn't have anything, and it really should. So she felt very strongly she wanted to create this essay contest. And it's been a wonderful event, a wonderful project. I mean, the essays are so moving. Every year, we get a chance to read these amazing essays by AAPI high school students, both from Brookline High School and private schools as well. It's open to kids from private schools. They just have to live in Brookline. But just some of the writing is really touching and amazing. And I think it's benefited us, it's benefited the whole community, and I hope it's benefited not only the award winners, but all of the students who've participated.
I think part of it was I had like a fear of public speaking, so I had to conquer that. That was scary. And then I think also I was surprised at the amount of people who came up to me and told me that my essay moved them or something. And then it kind of made me reflect on how to be vulnerable in front of other people, because it's sharing your writings, kind of sharing something inside you. Importance of reflecting on your own mistakes and also listening to other people. And I think maybe that it's okay to make mistakes. You're a human, you're going to do that, but it's about how you react to your mistake.